Hi, I'm Justin Shaw at Stone Fabricator Elite, and thank you for joining us for today's webinar workshop on how to systematize your sales and fix your leaky pipeline with a proper CRM. A lot of the things I'm going to show you are things that really tie into this quote that I love here. A good system shortens the road to the goal. So the agenda for today and the things that we're going to cover are: what is a CRM, just to start with, what it can do for your business, how to select the right CRM for your business, because there are many options and it's not one size fits all, and the 5 keys to effectively systematizing your sales. We'll also talk about and identify the top 3 sales pipeline leaks that we've found come up time and time again over the past 5 years of working with fabricators. We're also going to get into the sales intelligence, well, really the sales and marketing intelligence you can gain from a true CRM, and give you some really good examples of that inside of an actual account. And then last but not least, before we go into the question and answer portion, it's to talk about how to deliver a wow customer experience with the CRM. And we're really going to focus on the stage of the customer journey that often gets forgotten about, which is after the sale has already happened. All right, so let's jump in here. I'll give a quick background on myself. Where can I put this camera? Down here somewhere. So again, I'm Justin Shaw. My company is called Stone Fabricator Elite. We are a fractional new business development and sales support team for Stone Fabricators. We work exclusively with fabricators and suppliers since 2017, and we've helped many of the country's top stone pros to really scale their businesses more quickly and easily with our proven campaigns and systems. Relevant to this webinar today, I'll be sharing some of the things that we've learned in that time over the last 5 years, specifically with CRMs, and how we've come to what we've called build the ultimate fabricator CRM blueprint for stone shops. You're going to see me moving around this camera a little bit ongoing. I should probably close it out now when we jump into this. Okay, there we go. So what is a CRM and what can one do for your business? So CRM stands for Customer Relationship Management. And it's a software system that essentially helps business owners easily track all of the communications and nurture relationships with their leads and clients. Now, specifically for the purposes of this conversation, we're going to be talking about, and the title of this webinar, I use the word proper CRM. And there are many different options. And within the stone fabrication industry, you'll hear about the CRM capabilities of Stone Profits, More Aware, Eased Edge, Builder Trend, Action Flow, and the list goes on and on. Now, we've worked again with Stone Fabricators since 2017, and while those platforms are, very robust and serve a specific need, and many of them do that very, very well, the portion of the customer journey and lead lifecycle from when a new lead enters your pipeline to the point when you close and win the deal is not something that they're really set up to manage in any sort of dynamic or robust, meaningful way, truly. Some of them are trying to get there. Action Flow is trying to get there. They have the ability to do certain workflows and automations. But if you're really looking to systematize your sales and grow and take your shop and organization to the next level, then you need something that was really created for one purpose. And that wasn't to do bids or takeoffs or et cetera, and project management. It was really designed for, and the purpose of our conversation today is to optimize the lead and client relationship from the time they enter when they don't know you, all the way through your pipeline till you win the deal, and how you nurture them afterwards. So I just wanted to make a distinction there that what we'll be talking about is really the sales and marketing side of things. Okay, so using a proper CRM provides your business with better organization, efficiency, customer service, time management, and of course, revenue generation. Oops, sorry there. The mouse went down to the corner. All right, now let's talk about why every fabricator should be using a CRM. Here are the top 4 downsides to running your fabrication business without using a CRM. You have limited ability to systematize your sales and marketing, so you don't really have the control you would want to create consistency and predictability with how you bring new opportunities into your pipeline and convert them. Generally, often we find there's going to be inconsistent follow-up. A lack of clarity around data and performance, what's working, what's not working, and what to do about it, is often something that's then based on assumption. And so we really want to get clarity. And then poor team collaboration and communication. It's hard to have multiple departments, team members, collaborating and communicating effectively for the benefit of both your operation, but also your clients and customers. All right, so what are the top 4 benefits of using a CRM for your fabrication business? You're going to have enhanced efficiency and revenue generation. You're going to be able to simplify and scale your operation, increased profitability through having deeper insights on that data and efficiency of using that data, and then generating a better ROI on your sales and marketing efforts. So how do you select the right CRM for your business? So there's many things you can consider, and there are many options for CRMs out there. And again, although we have selected using a very specific CRM, it's really about finding the one that's right for you. And again, in this conversation and for this webinar presentation, we're focused on the elements related to sales and marketing. I'll bring myself back for a bit. I'll move myself around. So I've broken it down into 3 sections here. We have capabilities, UX, which refers to, in this case, we'll just break it down to how user-friendly is it, and then its ability to scale with your operation, and then cost and support. So let's go over the first one. In capabilities, you want to see when you're selecting a CRM, how customizable is this platform? And that relates to, is it going to serve our needs? Is it going to be able to scale as we scale? Is it going to be able to help us systematize the things we're looking for that are specific to our industry and our business? Can it support both sales and marketing? That's important because you might have a platform, one of the largest CRM platforms out there in sales software, Salesforce, really only focuses on the sales side of things and is not full ecosystem to also focus on marketing. So generally, we're going to want both. If you're not a major enterprise organization where you can have one and then have another and different departments are working on things, most fabricators are not there. You want an all-in-one solution. Okay, and then what level of automation does it support? Because we want to essentially improve efficiency, save time, and improve our ability to generate revenue. And we need a robust suite of automation tools and the ability to customize that. And then how much data and intelligence can you access? So there's a range of CRMs out there. Some you'll log into for your reporting dashboard, and it'll have just a pie chart showing number, your percentage of converted leads, how many leads you got, percentage of converted leads, and a couple of other KPIs. But really, if you're going to scale your business in a meaningful way and in an efficient way so that you're not wasting money, resources, and time, you really need deeper data. So I would recommend that you're looking for a platform that provides that. Okay, so how user-friendly? So the UX and the scale, the ability to scale with your business. So how user-friendly is the platform? Or can it be made to be user-friendly? So there are some platforms out there, CRMs, that are very basic rudimentary features, but the user design is not intuitive, not great for people that aren't tech savvy. So, if your sales team or yourself as a business owner is not going to adopt it and use it effectively, then it's ultimately going to be wasteful. And then can it scale with your business? I mentioned that a couple of times, and that's something that is important, and you'll want to do some research on that because the systems, processes, and people that it took to get from 1 million to 3 million, 3 to 5, 5 to 10 are not the same. You're going to need to have something that has the capacity to scale as you do, because migrating from one CRM to the next is a nightmare. So you want to generally, know that you can start with one that the pricing matches, and we'll talk about that in a minute. And then as you scale, yes, the pricing might go up, but it's able to provide you with the suite of tools and capabilities that you really need. Okay, so the last one is, does it integrate with the tools that you use? Every fabricator is using a different, what we call, or is called in different industries a tech stack. And so that'll vary, and there's never going to be one platform that, everything syncs and it's beautiful, but how many different things can integrate so that, there's, cross-channel, a communication between your technologies, as well as eliminating certain redundancies, is important. Okay, last but not least, cost and support. So personally, our clients and what our ultimate Fabricator CRM blueprint is built on is HubSpot. And now when you're looking at different platforms, you can have everything from Pipedrive all the way through to HubSpot and Salesforce, for example. And there's a range of offerings in between. But somebody might look at a Pipedrive option because it's $49 to $99 a month per user. And often, the platform that we use is viewed as more expensive, and it is, but there's a ton of different capabilities and things that you can access. But it's also, on my second point here, how you keep an eye on how they calculate and present price. So for example, the Sales Hub in HubSpot is $500 or $450 a month for 5 users. So if you divide that, you're about the same cost for the $99 tier in Pipedrive, but with far more capabilities. And so that's is something to keep an eye on, is how they calculate and present price. Okay, and then the last one is there dedicated multi-channel support. Unless you're a wizard, you're probably gonna want to sign up with somebody that's going to be there for you whenever you need them. So multi-channel support means they're available via chat, via email, and phone. And to some degree between those three, it's 24/7 support. If it's after hours, then you can send them an email and they'll get back to you, really quickly the next day, because your business is quick moving and you need somebody to be there to help you. All right, so that wraps up my main things to consider when selecting a CRM. There are so many different things to go through when evaluating. Ultimately, if you're looking to not do this yourself, that's a time maybe to get in touch with us and we can discuss, because we've designed a blueprint. It's turnkey. We know all the things that you need. We've made it very user-friendly. And we'd love to speak with you if that's something you're interested in. Okay, the next thing I'd like to focus on is another great quote that I love, is if you're too busy to build good systems, then you'll always be too busy. I want to segue to that because if you are choosing to go down the path of doing it yourself, absolutely there's benefits to that. You can get it to be just the way you want it, but you need to be ready to invest that time. And often in this industry, stone fabricators have, the business owners or those that are in operations seat have a massive amount of oversight and things that they're juggling, things they need to look after. And, setting aside the time to really, go through all of the processes necessary to build a good system, it always gets put on the back burner or never done. And what ends up happening then is you're always stuck in that place where, for many, fabricators, where they're wearing too many hats. I hear that all the time. They're just a slave to the business, for example. They can't get the level of freedom they want. And so you do need to make a commitment to set aside that time. If you're doing it on your own, it might be, a 3 to 6 month project to really build out something that really serves you, that goes beyond just having like a pipeline where you're just moving things through and marking them, but really has things that, saves you time, increases efficiencies and profitability. Okay. So what are the 5 keys to systematizing your sales with the CRM? The 5 keys that I see to systematizing sales, there would be many, but these are my top 5, is to roadmap your lead lifecycle and customer journey. I'll show you an example of that after. And if you haven't already, establishing your standard procedures related to your sales processes and marketing processes. And then creating workflows and sequences to support those SOPs. Of course, you could do that as well for project management and fulfillment. But for the purpose of this, we're talking about standard procedures related to sales and marketing. And so you have your roadmap of your customer journey, you have your processes, and then you're really looking at the system to how you can create the workflows, the sequences, the templates, the automations to create those efficiencies, remove manual tasks that I have here at number 4 to audit those and remove repetitive manual tasks and really to enhance what you're doing. So I always say that like a good proper CRM should be able to remove salespeople from the process when it enhances it and not diminishes it. So of course you need people to execute certain things, but there's a lot that a system can do and really enhance things versus diminish the quality of what you're doing. Okay, so the last one is to leverage a CRM for quality assurance and feedback. So if you're systematizing sales, you can come up with a process, but processes should be a living thing. There should be a living entity that is updated and evolves, and it should be based on data that you get back and feedback that you get from your prospects and clients and your team members so that you can continuously improve these processes and improve the system. Alrighty, so let me just go through a couple of those things and give you some indication of what we've done. So this is just an example of one of the blueprints, one of the roadmaps, sorry, that's part of our blueprint. So over the past 5 years, we've gained a lot of knowledge of working with stone fabricators. And so we have our blueprint, and this is a roadmap of a new lead / prospect and what the life cycle is as they move through, the sales pipeline. What are all the various touch points? What are the things that should happen? What are the questions that should be asked? What are the SOPs that support that? How do we track accountability? So we've mapped all of that out, and then we've backed it with a CRM. And that, let me go back. That would be my recommendation for you is you don't necessarily need to do it in this fancy, diagram tool. Shoot me a message if you want. I can send you the one that we use. But you can do this, obviously with your skills and background of getting it down on a piece of paper, drafting and mapping it out, and entering in all of those points and then, carrying that forward. So there are other ways of doing it. Okay. Then automations and workflows that we talked about to back up those processes and the things that you want to have standardized and to some degree automated. So for example, if you have somebody fill out your contact us form, what happens? It rotates between contact donors, what messaging is going out, what tasks are set later for follow-up, all of those types of things are what you want to have in a good system that's customizable. Different platforms will come with different one-click workflows, but that doesn't really work for a business that's, so there's so much nuance and complexity to the stone business. And so you need to have things that are customizable. Okay, another thing that we really look for to have inside of a CRM is the capability to get feedback, as we talked about. And so this is just an example. I only put positive feedback here, but it does happen and our clients do get negative feedback and you look to acquire that so you can improve what you're doing. But I didn't want to mock that up on the screen here for, sort of exposing anybody's negative feedback. But as you can see, you can come in and you can find out what's happening from clients, why in this specific case, what's on the screen of why they chose not to go with this client for a project. So we're getting feedback on the stage of the pipeline for closed lost. We also do that for project completed to capture a satisfaction survey. And then, you look to capture a positive review. So really beneficial stuff to have in there. Okay, so what are the top 3 Fabricator sales pipeline leaks? All right, the 3 that we see time and time again, and even if you have it dialed in to some degree, there's generally room for improvement, and it makes sense to focus on the biggest levers that'll make the biggest difference in your business versus focusing on 25 different small things that barely move the needle. So the top 3 sales pipeline leaks to focus on at first is lost leads, lack of database and management. So that's the first thing. The second thing is the time vortex, slow response time, whether that's at the very beginning when they were requesting a quote or, hey, I have a project, I'd like somebody to call me, and it takes 2 days for somebody to get back to them. Or they've requested a quote and it's slow, for a response, or even when the project is happening, and they have a question and people are slow to get back to them. All the way through, we often find there's a time vortex. It's taking too long. But for the purposes of this webinar, we're going to focus on the front end. So lead response time, and then that goes into the third one, the neglect effect, lack of nurturing. Lead response time then leads into how many touches, how the cadence and frequency of those touches to win business more quickly and easily. So what does that look like? Okay, so in a proper CRM, you're going to be able to see that every lead is logged and tracked. That's number one. It's going to come in whether it's on the phone, whether it's from a Google ad, Facebook ad, organic traffic to your website, email inquiry, all of that will get logged into the system. You'll be able to see all of those contacts, and you'll also be able to see how those contacts are moving through your pipeline and what channels are performing better than others. Leaving easy money on the table. That's something I just want to address very quickly. So when we talk about the time vortex, we're leaving easy money on the table if our lead response time is not dialed in. So here's just 4 quick statistics for you that I think will be helpful. So the average lead response time for website leads, for example, is 17 hours. So that's what the thing to note about that is anybody that's looking for, let's say they're looking for Calicut gold or a soapstone countertop. And we've got somebody that's, in market searching for somebody to work on their countertop project. They're not going to stop at just going to your website and filling out the form. They're going to do a Google search or, how they're conducting their process. They're going to, unless they were referred, they're going to go to a number of different fabricators, your competitors, and they're going to complete the same forms. And it's going to be the one that gets back to them the quickest that is most likely to win the business. So 30% of your prospects will go to a competitor if you don't respond quickly enough. Quickly enough actually comes down to 5 minutes. After 5 minutes passes, the odds of connecting and qualifying a lead drop by 80%. And businesses that respond immediately within the first minute increase conversions by 391%. So having a CRM that can respond immediately on your behalf, automated, to bridge the gap between when one of the actual people that work for you at your company can contact this prospect, bridges the gap, and can ensure that you are the one that wins the deal or has the best chance of winning, qualifying, and converting the deal. So automating immediate responses, what does that look like? So for example, there's, I think, 10 steps in this. I can't show you them all on this screen capture, but if somebody's requested a quote, the lead comes in, it sends a message to the office manager to follow up with a call. It then creates a deal in the pipeline so it's not lost. And then a message is sent immediately. Your quote request has been received. Now from there, the sales rep that it was assigned to will also reach out to them. Office manager will have pre-qualified. Sales rep will follow up after. But then in that workflow for automating things, we're sending things like, Google reviews, a video of past projects, these types of things, seeing us in this article in a published magazine, those types of things to build credibility, trust, and reinforce why they should choose you. We can also see the performance of these workflows, for example. All right, keep trucking along. So monitoring tasks and sales activities. So when we talked about the lack of nurturing, so when we talked about the number 3 leaky pipeline issue, the lack of lead nurturing. So being able to see how your sales team, or if you yourself as the business owner or sales manager are responsible for sales as well, it's being able to see what's efficient, monitor activity. And this is just one screen capture, but in a minute we'll go into sales intelligence and be able to see on a deeper level the things that you're going to be able to monitor and track and figure out where the bottlenecks are. Alrighty, so just to expand upon that and give an example, workflows that ensure nurturing because there's human error, and sales reps will only perform as good as the systems we support them with. For example, in this workflow, we're just showing an example of if there was no contact with a new opportunity in the last 5 days, what's going to happen? Okay, so we have some automations in place to tell the sales rep to contact them by email and or phone, depending on their preferred method of follow-up, for example. And that workflow keeps going so that it ensures that, hey, if action's not being taken with this, we're really going to get a hold of the rep and make sure that they do that. Okay, so sales intelligence you can gain from a CRM. All right, so again, I've broken it down into 3 main areas. I'll start over here. I'll cover what the 3 are. Is a good CRM will provide you with deep data and intelligence in 3 areas: your sales data, your marketing data, and then on your actual prospect and deal level data. So the contact themselves and the nature of the deals themselves. You want to have solid intelligence on that. So as I mentioned before, there are some CRMs that you'll just see, okay, we got 33 leads this month, pie chart, and we closed 60% of them, and this is how much revenue we made. in that, there's so much nuance of, okay, well, what happened with this deal or this contact? Why did they choose us? How can we, take that and amplify that and improve upon that to get an even better result next time around? Things like that, very basic. Okay, so in sales, we're looking for things like rep activity and performance, contact and event rate. That means how many times is a contact or prospect being called or meetings being booked. Sales content analysis, the messages that we send to them, how are those working for us? The content that we're getting in front of them to, help us close a sale, how is that performing? Sales analytics overall and forecasting, so like where we are in a given month, where we're going to be, against our targets and goals and quotas. And then bottlenecks. What's slowing things down, deal velocity wise, to move things through? Where are the areas for improvement? And then on the marketing side, where are we getting our traffic and leads from? And then how are they moving through our sales pipeline? How are those conversations going? And what's essentially most profitable? What are we getting the biggest return on investment? So you get that from being able to see campaign analytics, marketing content analytics, and being able to see and tie back marketing, even if that's not paid advertising, online advertising, I should say. If you're doing direct mail, billboards, it's still want to attribute marketing to sales and figure out what that ROI is. So you know what's working, where to double down on, and spend more, and what campaigns to maybe dial back or cancel altogether, for example. And then on the contact and deal level, we want to be able to see how a contact came into our system, how they engaged with us. Analytics behind that, the conversation intelligence, what was the conversation with the reps? And you can see all of that in a proper CRM, call recording, conversation history, activity, all of those things. But you can also see contact behavior. What pages did they look at? What videos did they watch? What did they click on? What inventory did they look at? All of those things. Reasons that you lost deals and project completed feedback that we talked about. All right. So we're coming to the tail end of this. I'm just going to go in real quick and show you some of those dashboards and pull them up. In a proper CRM, you're going to be able to see things like high priority deals. It's just going to load up, slows down when I'm recording. But what are the high priority deals, for example, for a sales manager report dashboard? Closing in the next 30 days, in the next 90 days. What are all the active quotes we have out in 90 and 30 days? And for closed lost, deals in the last 30 days, in this case above 10K, but for others that may be over 150K, that we want to go in and look at. What happened there? Why did we lose those deals? And then for sales content analysis. Okay, so let's look at, the emails we're sending them. If we followed up with them with this email, because the way we do it is we create a lot of pre-designed communications that are automated and then they go out, or there are sequences where they need some adjusting, but it's already all there. But even if it wasn't, we want to see how that's performing. So how are these communications performing? What's working? What are people clicking on and replying to? And we can see all of those. You can even see things like documents. When we send somebody a process document, here's, from templating, install, etc. How are people engaging with that? Okay, great. People are actually reading this, spending 15 minutes on that recently to look at that. That's important. And then sales team forecasting. Something like that is being able to look at your sales team, see how they're performing against their quotas and targets, and where are their deals, inside of the overall stages of pipeline. So right now, for example, in the negotiation phase, 11 deals inside negotiation phase set to close at the end of this month. It's September 29th. So we know that we have a lot of possibility there by September 30th here between the three sales reps here. Where should we key in on? And if we click on them, we see the actual deals and what they're valued at. And there's much, much more you can do in there. But that's just a really quick basic example. And then, of course, we talked about like sales rep activity again. But just, beyond that one screen capture I showed you, what are the call outcomes? How are those calls going? You can listen in, see how they're going, help and coach them. What are the activities they're doing? What's their lead response time? All the way down, to weighted forecasts. Tons of data here inside a proper CRM that's tied to, your marketing efforts, your sales pipeline, sales rep activity, for example. Okay, then on the marketing side of things, if you are running advertising campaigns or planning to, so that's where we talked about picking a CRM that can scale with you. If that's something you're planning to do in the future, you're really going to want to see and have that tie into your CRM. How are these leads performing that we're spending money and investing on to get. So for example, this is just a Google ads campaign. So that's running, and you can just see very quickly what's the ROI on that. We can get into that much further, but again, just with the interest of time, you can get into it much further to see the audiences. You can click on the deals, you can analyze them all the way through to like what were they searching for in Google Ads? What did they engage with? How did this conversations go? How much time did it take? And ultimately, what was that worth to us in terms of what we spent? So in this case, 188% ROI, return on investment on the ad budget there. So you want to see those things. You want to be able to see things like traffic and lead source analysis. So where is all your traffic coming from? From organic search, paid social. There aren't really campaigns running for this client here anymore. Email marketing, etc. And how many of those contacts converted to customers, for example. And then, of course, there are deeper levels of that to be able to see all the way through, but just a quick glance for you guys. And then email performance and health. You want to stay in touch. You want to nurture your clients. You want to communicate to them, but you want to be able to see how things are working. Now, I showed you previous emails on like follow-up campaigns and quote requests, but for the purpose of this, to just keep it easy, here are 3 emails, just sort of long-term nurturing, sending inventory, things like that. And you can compare. You can select, different emails. How are they performing? The open rate, click-through rate, all the way down a little bit further into deeper things. So you really want to be able to see, if depending on where you want to go with your business, you want to be able to see how are people responding to what we're putting out and what translates to sales. So you know what to do more of or less of at a very basic level. And then the last one, and there are other things, but something that's often overlooked is form performance, and that's all the forms that you would have on your website. So if you have a contact us form, if you have a request a quote form, how is that performing for us? So we have a contact form. What is that? If you had a contact form on the about page versus the contact us page or home page, you want to know which one's working and how is it performing and how many leads came from that converted to customers. So that's something that's often overlooked, is making sure that all of your channels online are integrated with your CRM, and that you have a way of seeing that on a fairly deep level. Alrighty, so I think we are close to the end at this point. We will get into how to deliver a wow customer experience with a CRM. And again, as I mentioned at the beginning, we're going to focus mainly on the overlooked part of the sales pipeline, which is after a project is already completed. I think is a very important and often overlooked part. We're going to talk about that because everything I'm going to mention could easily translate, and we do have in our blueprint and built for our customers and our clients those touch points that happen while we're trying to nurture to win the deal. But in this case, I apologize, there's some construction happening nearby, and you might be hearing saws and drills and all sorts of things happening nearby, but you guys are used to that. So the thing that we're focusing on are customer gratitude campaigns right now. And of course, you can have customer nurturing campaigns as well. But what do those look like? So for example, you can systematize your long-term customer nurturing campaigns, whether that's a handwritten, and we use the word handwritten, but the way we do it, it's automated, and it's actually written in pen by a robot. It's not printed, they actually have a robot that writes that out. So thank you cards, holiday cards. So after the project's completed or they decide to do the project with you, a thank you card should be semi-automated and sent out. A holiday card should be sent out. So the way that we do this is we have no less than a 12-month post-sale nurturing for our clients in our blueprint. And we would recommend, if you take nothing else from this presentation, if you're a year out from actually truly really looking at a CRM, but you just wanted to attend today to kind of get a better feel for what we're talking about when it comes to a CRM for sales and marketing, is to look at how you can deliver a wow customer experience that's going to help you, further establish your reputation, build raving fans, get more referrals, and truly, amplify that side of your business. So this is an easy, low-hanging fruit type of thing that you can do that you don't necessarily need a CRM for. And if you have any questions about this, I can send you the link if you want to reach out to me. It's justin@stonefabricatorelite.com. If you want the link to the robot tool that can send those handwritten cards for you. So for example, follow-up gifts that come at the 6-month mark, for example, is a cleaner kit, and you can work with a stone surface cleaner company that'll give you samples that don't cost you anything that you can just ship out to your client at the 6-month mark. So semi-automating that is the ideal. Your office manager, for example, gets a notification, time to send this out to this person with a nice, again, in that case, you really could do a card, but she will just drop that in the mail. But we don't forget is the key. And we're always very consistent and intentional with whatever our wow experience is, delivering that 100% all the time. If it's B2B, and we specialize in B2B, so we have our blueprint for this for our clients is the corporate gifting. So for a general contractor that decided to give you the opportunity to bid on a project and then do that project for them versus their current fabricator, you really want to wow them and thank them with something. And so we have that all mapped out, how to do that. Another example, so on the retail side of things, for homeowners, let's say you're a fabrication shop that has a 12-month warranty. Well, you want to have it in your system for the 10-month mark, let's say, to do a proactive check-in prior to warranty. Check in, are there any issues? Your warranty is coming up. We just want to check in ahead of time to make sure we can service you before that expires. Now that can be, some of our clients do that by phone in addition to a letter or a card, for example, as well. So lots of options there. And for us, it all ties into the CRM. So I will leave you with that before we move to the Q&A section of this. How can you be more creative with wowing your customers through all stages of your pipeline? So a key, sort of good takeaway for the day of something to think about. Okay, so now into the Q&A section. I'm going to go and review some of the questions that we have here and then go through as many of them as I can. First one being, when we talk about our system and what we're sort of showing you on the screen, what sort of level of fabrication shop from revenue or number of staff team members do we typically look at before this makes sense for them? Okay, that's a good question. So I would say that, we started building, customizing HubSpot, the CRM, for our first client 5 years ago or shortly thereafter in working with them. And it's evolved over time. And so we had to build that for, a shop owner that wasn't that necessarily tech savvy at the time. They've certainly gotten there. And having a range of sales staff from young to somebody that's in their 60s. So we really designed and built it, even though I just showed you a lot of capabilities on the front end, which I didn't demo. And if anybody wants one, again, get in touch with me. But a very easy user interface and how the sales reps engage with it. So there's really 5 inputs that they're responsible for to trigger the various automations, workflows, and things to happen. And then there are certain forms they need to fill out to make sure all prospects are entered in the system properly. And then they're really just managing the notes and the tasks so that it's transparent that there's, the communication that's gone on, what we've learned about that client, the status of that client. That's really what we're asking them to do. And then using the tools to call, an email in the system so we can track it. So the sales reps, we've made it very, very, very simple for them. And then the business owners, they can gain access to those easy to look at dashboards that we've created that they can just go at a glance and look at it. Now, if you're doing this on your own, just to finish answering that question, really, it depends on what you're looking to invest in your business. So we have a light version, then we have the ultimate version. And so if you are looking to us to do that, because you're like, okay, you showed me a lot, I'm interested in that, but that's way too much for me to do it on my own. No problem, we've thought of that. And we do have very affordable options for you. And so I would say that there isn't necessarily a specific number, like you have to be at 3 million. No, we have clients that are under 1 million. We have clients over 10 million. So, and beyond. So it's really there to service all points in between. And we don't necessarily activate every area of our blueprint for everybody. We have our ultimate blueprint that can support everybody up to the highest levels, but we don't activate that maybe for a smaller shop. Okay, so I hope that answered that question. I would say that outside the context of working with us, this isn't necessarily a question that was left in here, but just to piggyback on that, if you're looking to do it yourself, where do you start? And that would be, I'd say, we're recording this, so look at the recording and look at what are the things I should be looking for in a CRM. So when you're evaluating them, you pick the right one, and really do your due diligence. That shouldn't be something that should be rushed into, because you're kind of like, you're married to it. Once you have the software that operates the CNC machine, you're all in. So you want to do your due diligence. You want to audit it, look at it, review it, get a trial. Before you devote a lot of time, resources, and energy into it. But I would say that's the best place to start, and you can never start too soon. Okay, another question that we have here is, on those forms, can we get and capture drawings, square footage, plans? Yes. So all of that's already done in a blueprint, and if you're getting a more robust CRM, if you're doing it on your own, you'll want to look and ask the customer support team before you sign on, can they accommodate that? And so for us, yes, definitely. We're in an age during the pandemic that people were not meeting in person, but it just enhances efficiencies. If we can pre-qualify, if we can turn around that bid more quickly, we want to collect as much information at the beginning as possible. So yes, 100% we can do that. Or you can do that on your own as well. Okay, other questions. So okay, that's a really good question. So what's the difference between something like a More Aware and this, or Action Flow? For example, I'm just going to name some other ones, but in this case, this question, More Aware. So Builder Trend, Stone Profits, Eased Edge. What's the difference between what we're talking about and what you're already doing? And can this, in what we showed you, do all of it? Can this replace that? And the answer is, for the most part, no. We really recommend. There's a lot that it could do. Project management can be done in this. Customer support tickets can be done in this. All of that can be done in the system that I showed you. But we generally, they're almost, without exception, I can say all of our clients are using this in the way of, this is really managing the sales pipeline. Everything to do with that part of the customer journey. And then when a project needs to be quoted, it happens in More Aware. The quote is sent from, in this case, HubSpot, the CRM that we showed, so that we can track it, so that we can see and communicate all in one place, where we get better and more robust data than in More Aware or Stone Profits. But if they need a revision on that, then either the sales rep or estimating team, for example, is doing that again in More Aware. Now, the project management side, should that happen in Builder Trend or SPS, typically, a lot of that, you could build the same thing as having a sales pipeline. You could have a project management pipeline for all the stages from install to, templating to install, and all of the things in between. You could do that in here. So yes, that could happen in here. Really, the only thing that couldn't, even though it does have a quoting feature in a lot of CRMs, is you need a true tool for your estimates. Generally, that you'd have in SPS or More Aware, for example. But if you're somebody that just goes in, does it on Excel, does your takeoff, puts your estimate in Excel, then yeah, you could do it all in here, and you wouldn't necessarily need that. But that would be I think I answered that question. The difference is, why we recommend keeping the project management side inside of something like More Aware or Stone Profits, Action Flow, etc., is, if you're already very familiar with that tool, don't reinvent the wheel and push it into another system unless you're more tech savvy or you have some significant help with that. If it's not broken, don't fix it. Maybe later, if you're adopting a CRM, focus on that first part. Know that if that's what you want to do, make sure you vet it that it can do that, but tackle one thing at a time. Otherwise, it would be very overwhelming. All right, I'm gonna answer one more here, and then because I think that's it. I think some of the questions that got put in here, I answered as I went along. If you have any questions that I didn't address from this, I think you guys have the invite emails. You can just hit reply on that. I'll get that, and I'm happy to respond, or we can jump on a call and do that. So okay. Yes, so that's a good question. in terms of all the things that I just showed, what does it take from you to actually set that up? And I get your question. I'll try and answer in two ways. One, if we do it for you, it's turnkey. It's probably, 30 to 45 minutes of your time to do intake with us, and it's turnkey because we have a blueprint that's been developed over 5 years of working with stone fabricators. And then we onboard. So onboarding, we do that live with you, and there's also a suite of training videos to help you and or new team members enter the onboarding seamlessly. So very, very little. We've designed this specifically because we know that stone fabricators have too much on their plate already, too much oversight, and we've really made it turnkey. So we don't have to reinvent the wheel, spending time with you, looking at what you need. We've already covered the majority of bases. And so it's very much turnkey and hands-free, really. Doing it yourself really depends on the person. So that's really hard to answer. But I would imagine if you're starting from scratch, you've got a roadmap, you've got to audit things, you've got to develop your SOPs, and then you've got to build inside of a platform. And even for us, that takes a number of weeks, 8 weeks actually, even though we have a blueprint. So I'd imagine if we multiplied that by 2 or 3 is probably how much time you would need to invest into that. Realistically, because that's not the only thing you're doing. It wouldn't take that long if you were doing nothing but that, but we know that you have other things going on. So not necessarily a one-size-fits-all answer there, but hopefully I covered that for you. Okay. So I appreciate you guys for joining me. Thank you so much. If you do have any questions, feel free to reach out. Again, just about us, we have been working with stone fabricators since 2017. We specialize in new business development. That means helping fabricators expand their network and land more accounts with everything from interior designers, custom home builders, architects, GC, and millwork companies. And we have a proven system for that. Multiple case studies of generating $1 million in project opportunities within 90 days for our clients, and this year to date, $50 million in project revenue for our clients across the US. So the reason that we've gotten and arrived in terms of being so proficient with a blueprint for stone fabricators is we needed to build that to ensure that we were capitalizing on the opportunities that we generate for stone fabricators in our new business development program. So those things really work hand in hand, and it's why we've spent so much time developing that blueprint. So again, thank you for your time, and we'll see you on the next one.